Welcome back, Boss Agents. This is the Boss Agent Podcast with your hosts, Matt
Hey, everyone.
and Rich. Probably the most important topic in real estate ever. How to get leads today and close deals now.
That's right. I think that's probably one of the most common questions we get ever.
Yep. Constant.
How can I get good leads and how can I close deals?
Yep. If you're on on any forums or like Reddits or Facebook groups, you'll see that is just constantly coming up from new agents as well as experienced agents who are just in a rut and can't get past a certain GCI.
That's right. So I think that's a great video to address. So let's do it.
Absolutely. So there's kind of going to be two parts. The first part is if you have a sphere, and the second part is going to be if you don't have a sphere. So the first part's going to be pretty short, just how to work your sphere. But so often I see on the post, I literally know no one, or I literally moved to a new city just a month ago. So that's why we're breaking it down that way. If you're looking for, if you don't know a single person, bear with us for like 30 seconds here. If you have a sphere.
So if you have a sphere of influence, obviously you got to call and email them and stay in contact with them and let them know and remind them that you're in real estate. You got to stay top of mind. That is huge.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Most people know more than one real estate agent. So
that's right.
You need to reach out.
And I think one thing that we do that we like doing too, to just constantly remind them, we do send postcards out to our sphere of influence. For us, at least, we do it every other month. They get a piece of mail from us, and it helps them just say, oh yeah, the sphere says, so yep. It helps them, stay top of mind. Also, when you are talking to them, I mean, there's two schools of thoughts on this, I guess. You could call them just to, hey, reach out, see how they're doing. But you can also, at some point, you should ask them, hey, do you know anyone who's looking to buy or sell? Or are you looking to buy and sell?
Now, I don't personally send postcards to my sphere that often. I do send postcards multiple times a year, though. One thing that I do is I send unbranded postcards. Unbranded. I don't have my brokerage name on that postcard anywhere. I send it for holidays. Especially Thanksgiving and Christmas. Those are two holidays that are really big in my family and with my friends, and so that I always send those. But I usually do one for 4th of July or Memorial Day also, because it's kind of like on the opposite end of the calendar, right? So that's why I choose that.
Yeah.
But you definitely should ask for referrals at least once a year. Now, if you're calling them every 30 days, hey, who do you know who's going to buy? Hey, who do you know who's going to sell? Hey, and you're hounding them every 30 days, they're not going to like that. I ask for referrals 1 to 2 times a year is when I do that. Something I saw on Facebook, there's an agent who's sending postcards that specifically say, I appreciate your referrals on one side and with some fancy art. And on the back side, it's got a little type up of why referrals help their business and how you can help them grow. And then next to that, it's like the name, address, and all the information about the referral. That's something that's interesting, and that's something that I'm probably going to implement really soon. So I'll let you guys know how that goes.
Yeah, it sounds like a great idea.
It's specifically for sphere, and it is a new thing that I've not tried before.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea to try.
So a good tip is follow up most, if not every conversation with a handwritten note.
Yeah, a lot of people are handwriting notes anymore, and I think that's really special when someone gets that in the mail, And
it's so easy.
It is so easy.
Set aside 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And just, keep a list of who you need to send handwritten notes to. I attribute 80% of my success to writing handwritten notes. And that's a little exaggeratory, but I'm one of the only people who sends these people handwritten notes. They don't get handwritten notes from anybody else.
Right. So that's why it's going to go a long way with these people.
Yep. So with your people, there's spheres with your people. Right. So if you have no sphere, I just moved to a new city, I'm alone, I know no one, that is asked a lot. And those principles, the no sphere principles, can be used even if you have a smaller sphere. Like when I started real estate, my database was like 50 people. I'm sorry, that's a really small sphere of influence.
It is. And some people even struggle to get to that.
Yep.
So that's why we need to talk about kind of what you can do when you move to a new area, or if you don't have a sphere in your current area that you've been in.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think the first thing you can do is really join as many groups as possible that are going to allow you to get exposure to new people.
Yeah. I think a really good one and a good example that we have, there's professional groups in your area guaranteed. For us specifically, there's like the young professionals for younger, business professionals. They're not all in real estate. Obviously, they're, banking, finance, whatever.
Yep.
That's a great
there's
one.
probably women's professional groups too.
Oh, yeah.
I'm almost guaranteed
Yeah.
that wherever you are located, there's going to be women's professional groups.
Right.
Take advantage of that.
Yes, absolutely do that. You can meet great people, and because these people are dealing with other, consumers.
Yep.
So in a different field maybe, but if they can recommend a good real estate agent, that's a perfect place to start.
And entrepreneurs want to help entrepreneurs.
That's right.
Something that business owners want to help other business owners.
And that's something we brought up in other videos too, is help other people out.
Yep.
So
They help each other. They want to help those. It's like the law of compensation, I think it's called. When you help somebody, they want to help you back.
right.
And for me, now Matt doesn't have experience actually being in a group, but for me, BNI, or Business Networking International, was huge when I joined BNI. And that was something where the whole point of BNI is to give each other referrals. It's literally the point of the group. Every week they meet. Most groups meet every week. It's recommended you meet every week, but every week they meet and they go around in a circle and they literally present referrals. I have a referral for Dan. I have a referral for Gina. I have a referral for, they literally present referrals. And BNI trains their members. This is huge. They train their members on what is a referral and what is a lead, because they are not the same thing. And so it was a huge help, because when I got referrals from BNI, I knew that they were actual referrals, not leads. Referrals have phone numbers. Referrals know you're going to call. Referrals said yes to you calling. It was a big deal. I'm still in contact with one of my referral partners from BNI. I'm now helping him buy a home, and I'm helping him sell a home, and he might even be on the podcast soon. We're trying to get him on here.
Yeah.
But it's a big deal. It's really helped my business. It's still working with that specific individual. He's sent me 4 or 5 referrals just this year.
Yeah, that's great.
So
Also, another kind of way to look at this in terms of joining groups, it doesn't always have to be about business. Hobby groups, cars and coffee,
Yep.
golf, yoga.
yesterday, for the first time ever, I took a person out to look at property that I met playing Warhammer. And that's a big deal. I was just doing what I like to do, playing a game that I like to play. And now because of that, he reached out to me and said, "Hey, I noticed you constantly are putting real estate videos on Facebook. I noticed you're constantly sharing real estate articles. I want to buy a house. We already talked to a listing agent," which, I didn't get there first, but we talked to a listing agent and I just didn't trust them. And I wanted to talk to you about it. And I ended up having a buyer consultation. And then now I'm taking them out on showings.
Yeah, that's great. And, think about that. All the other things you can do, gym, CrossFit, literally anything you like to do and enjoy to do, and you can join a group maybe, or at least just be active in that area.
Absolutely.
Do it. That's a great way to do it.
How many transactions a year does our broker get from the CrossFit gym she's a part of?
Oh, man. I mean, she talks about it all the time. I don't have an exact number, but it's
got to be at least 5.
It is a very regular occurrence where, oh, yeah, they came from CrossFit.
Yep.
They came from CrossFit.
So pick something and do it. And it's okay to tell people. We talked about this in one of our videos last week. Don't be a secret agent. Yeah. Doing CrossFit afterwards. Hey, yeah, I'm actually a real estate agent. It's totally natural. They're going to talk about what they do. You're not being pushy. You're not, nobody's going to be mad that you say, "Hey, I'm a real estate agent." And don't be surprised if there's other real estate agents in the group.
Right. Yeah. That's another thing too. I mean, there's real estate agents everywhere. So you might not be the only one, and that's okay.
Yep.
That's okay.
I wasn't the only real estate agent at the Warhammer group, but that's all right. It's not a big deal. If they get some business, great. More power to them. There's plenty of business to go around.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
So, another one of my favorites, leverage a local coffee shop or restaurant. I call it the home field advantage. Have a place and you can develop this rather quickly. Like in the matter of 2 weeks, you can do this. Have a place that knows your name, that you know the name of all the staff, that the staff like you because you're being nice to them, and you tip well, and have your meetings there. There's a coffee shop here where we work that when I walk in, and it hasn't been as much because a couple of staff have turned over and they've got new staff, which I need to reacquaint myself with the new staff. But when I would walk in, they would say, "Oh, hey, Rich, how's it going? Yeah, how are you? How's business? Did you close that one deal you were talking about?" It's instant credibility with whoever I'm bringing in, with whoever that client is that I'm walking in the door with. It's an instant credibility hit.
That's right. It's a great suggestion too. And we use it. It works.
Yep. And I did sell the barista's house and then also help her buy.
There you go.
This is all stuff that stacks on each other. So, and lastly, your least favorite word, or at least the least favorite word of all real estate agents ever, you need a prospect.
Yep, absolutely. We talk about it all the time. We pretty much bring it up in every video because prospecting is how we get business.
Yeah.
And we just talked about it in our previous video, but call for sale by owners,
Yep.
expired listings.
100%.
That's a great way to prospect for new business.
Call for sale by owners and let them know that their number isn't being published on Zillow anymore.
There you go. Yeah, another one.
But you can also farm a neighborhood, and farming a neighborhood, you won't necessarily get leads today and close deals now, which is the title of the video. You won't necessarily, but you could. I started farming a new area this year. On my first mailer, I have an accepted offer now.
Yeah, that's great. And it can happen. And you will get calls on it. Obviously, you got to send a lot of mailers. You do. It's just reality of it.
It's a numbers game.
And it's not necessarily, you got kind of lucky.
I got kind of lucky. I had known the person prior. So I got kind of lucky, but the mailer did initiate that listing.
Exactly. It started that conversation.
So, yeah. Otherwise, what kind of postcards do you send in your farm?
So it depends. So we have our Sphere postcards, which I kind of mentioned. Those are recipe cards. It's kind of fun, not business related, but it does stay top of mind with them.
What's that service called?
That one is called Sensations.
Sensations.
We can put a link in the description.
Yeah.
But also you can talk about like what's happening in their neighborhood. So like what's closing and for how much, and that's all public data that you can send them and put it right in front of them. Oh, that house sold for that much.
Yeah.
So that's a great way to mail a farm, especially if you don't have any listings in there right now.
Sure.
But obviously, if you have your listing in there, obviously you got to send that out.
If you have a listing in your farm, and especially if you're new, let me move back that a couple steps. So if you want to get leads today and close deals now, send just listed postcards, send just sold postcards, and send handwritten notes to the neighbor about the open house if you're hosting open houses. As money, that's 3 hits we just talked about. Just listed, open house, handwritten open house note, and a just sold postcard. That's 3 postcards on top of your normal postcards you send to the farm. These people are going to know that when they go to sell, you're their agent. That's really important.
Yeah. And another thing you made me think of it about open houses and inviting them. You can also door knock. I've done it where you invite the neighbors over, say, hey, I got an open house this Sunday at noon.
And they come.
And they come.
That's good because you're talking to them. And if they don't buy a house from you today, who cares? You're still putting yourself in front of people so they know who you are. Which again, I got that listing, which is now an accepted offer on a mailer because I had talked to them prior. They knew of me.
Right.
So that's really important. You could also use the I have a buyer looking for XYZ letter. This is a big letter. It gets a lot of callbacks. And first of all, I want to take a time out and say, don't lie. You need to have a buyer looking for XYZ, because if XYZ calls you and it's perfect and it matches your letter, you had better have a showing ready. Do not lie. Do not misrepresent. But first of all, if you do produce XYZ for the buyer, you're going to get an accepted offer right there. Second of all, if you don't, they can call you and they can talk to you and say, oh, well, I don't have exactly that. Do you have any other buyers? It'll start conversations. There's an agent in her office. How many does she have? 3 under contract. 3 right now from one sending of this type of letter.
Yep.
She sent the letter to one neighborhood one time like this, and now has 3 contracts from it.
Yeah, so it really shows how powerful these mailers can be, especially over time. And again, I'm going to bring it up again. Be consistent with these mailers. Consistently hit the same area. Don't go to one neighborhood and then jump down to another one. You don't want to do that. You want to be consistent to where you're targeting.
Yeah. It'll also save you money, which I think is part of the point you were trying to make.
Right.
It's going to save you a lot of money if you just target one neighborhood.
And being in front of them constantly. I think, if you target them once a year,
it doesn't matter.
Right.
It just doesn't matter if you target them once a year.
But if it's every month or every other month, that's a lot different. That's where the recognition comes in.
And if it's every time you have a listing and you hit 3 times when you have a listing, and that you'll start to close a lot of business in that farm. So, but I think that we don't want to make this video too long. There's tons of stuff you can do, right? There's tons of stuff.
Yeah. So, contact your sphere or create a sphere.
Yep.
Obviously you got to prospect. So those are kind of our 3 big things to do to get leads today and close deals now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have a pretty big goal to talk about.
Yeah, so we want to hit 10,000 subscribers by Christmas, which is a huge goal. It usually takes YouTubers and podcast people years to hit the 10,000 mark. But we're throwing caution to the wind, and we're just saying, you know what?
We're
We don't
going
care.
for
We're
it.
going for it. We're gonna
Yep.
we're gonna try to make this channel big. We really want to provide value to people, and we don't know what yet. But when we figure it out, we're gonna have an announcement video. We're gonna do something cool if we do hit the 10,000 subscriber mark. So,
Yeah. So make sure to like and share this video. That helps us get that subscriber. And obviously subscribe if you haven't already. We post content every week,
multiple times a week.
multiple times a week.
So yeah, thanks guys. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you.